Everybody, welcome to another geopolitical analysis video. Christmas Eve, 8:15 a.m. here, Eastern Time Conference. I want to bring your attention to some information I got around Mara, some insights. So, the puts and call activity on options has been really interesting as it's almost neck to neck. The puts have actually been 1.2, 1.3 million in size volume, whereas the calls are a bit less than a million, 940,000 approximately. We can see over here that the volume is quite interesting of the option activity. There, meaning that there's a lot of anticipation for lower, but also a lot of anticipation for one side for higher. And it's interesting because whenever you have options of prices that it's neck to neck in terms of volume, which strike price will hit, you tend to see that when it moves in one way, it gets a bit of a squeeze, right? So let's say over here, for instance, if you see an increase, now we're seeing some buying interest, 1927. If we see some buying up to 21, 22, a lot of the puts might actually pursue the stock in order to cover their losses, in order to gain some of that momentum, to cut down those losses, right? And in order to catch that potential wave up, because after such a heavy selling, you tend to see a bounce. The reason why I think we're going to see a stronger bounce as well is because we see this Wyckoff like accumulation zone. This zone that took since July of 2024. This is a very strong area of support. And these prices here are considered cheap in terms of the strong movements that you saw on the upside. So whenever we were in this area, let's take a look at okay, so whenever we were in this area, we jumped from $19 all the way to 30. So you had well over $10 gain. Whenever we were here, we gained so 19 again, 29. Yeah, we'd even move to 34, move to 31, right? Okay, we could draw like this, 31. So you can expect that typically a move from here could take you over here. Beautiful. So beautiful symmetry. The market moves in symmetry, right? And this was an overcrowded stock, but at the same time, it's good that it was overcrowded because it sold off, people took profits, and now it's a bit lower again. So you could accumulate. Now, the trend line that I drew is coming from the very first price. Okay, dating back to, I can't see the date here, but it must be 2014, 13. Okay, if we take a trend line all the way down, we notice that, on the highest prices several years ago, it hit that trend line. It almost hit this trend line here, but the second one doesn't matter that much because you had such a spike here and the volume was so irregular that it didn't have the same importance because this was just a bounce right after this accumulation here. Now what I'm trying to get at over here is that if you look at the symmetry here of this bounce that we're expecting, it could very well touch again the trend line at the $32 mark, which I do think we would find the next resistance. As you can see, there's resistance over here, somewhat resistance over here. So I do think that it's safe to say $32 would be the next move if we were to see, okay, if we were to see a buying pressure, an increase in Bitcoin move. So Bitcoin surpass 108 to go to 113 or 120 zone, okay, which is expected. Because if we look at the RSI in the monthly, every time Bitcoin really hit the top, the RSI was in the high 80s, low 90s level, okay? This price hit 77, which means that it wasn't overbought. It wasn't overbought, and I was looking at Google Trends recently. There wasn't that much retail interest as much as institutional interest. You can expect a higher push, okay? You can expect a higher push here. Yes, this candle is very scary. This looks like a topping candle for December. But let's take a look at the interest rates as well. They've been climbing, so that has been adding a lot of pressure to the markets. Higher dollar, and I'm not really liking this monthly close. This entails that we could see additional pressure until the next month or so before we see a sell-off. If this would double top, like I said, you should expect a violent push down. I still do think we're going to see high 90s, but that is yet to come to fruition. But yep, that was about Mara. I think you guys who care about the miners should be happy because this is a perfect area to buy. Look at the tremendous support that it has. Okay, historically this is a good bounce level, and this is a good accumulation level. And I think that since 2023, the price range has been locked under 34 to 13. And I do think that at some point this accumulation will push us higher. Could it be the January, February, March period? Could it be spring? That is yet to be seen. Of course, we're going to wait. No predictions further. Let's just observe the charts. As I showed you, you have the options that are pretty much neck to neck, and that adds a lot of interest because if it moves in one direction, then you might see a squeeze. And if we see a squeeze with Mara, Mara tends to move really strongly and make these beautiful moves up. So you could expect it hitting the low 30s again. If we see another double sort of like top like this type of move where a double break, not double top, but a double break up after a lower price, you're betting your ass that this is going much higher. Okay, so just letting you guys know, my drawing is not the best here, but you get the picture. Thanks so much. Bye for now.